Hi, my name is Rachel Jepson, and I am presenting the paper iPads in Closets and Stagnant Test Scores, the Misappropriation of Technology in the Public School System. The social success of the internet and online media has made technology a newly popular tool in public school classrooms, and its presence as a staple in the classroom continues to grow. Although there are many vocal supporters who agree with the millions of tax dollars spent on implementing new technology, there is a strong opposition both in the public forum and throughout education communities across the nation. Both the intrinsic and social value of technology and media have caused and are continuing to cause this glowing classroom presence. However, monetary greed, false value, and top-down mentality have resulted in a system that is not effective and has created a misappropriation of both human and technological capital. As the internet has become an essential aspect of Western civilization and social interactions have become virtual, these online interactions have become increasingly present in everyday life, including the education system. Following the discovery of this new social tool, public school systems have turned to technology to improve test scores and the value of a public education. This trend, however, has become more detrimental than helpful to the secondary education of public school students. One of the most technology-dominated school districts, the Kyrene School District in Arizona, has spent $33 million on classroom technology, yet test scores remain stagnant while the overall state test scores rise. While technology can be an asset, its current presence in the classroom is overbearing and often mandated by upper management in school districts and state legislators. In many cases, these district and state mandates are not supported by the teachers, and this misuse of funds becomes a burden on the teachers and the students as they struggle to adapt a system that does not work. Despite the current struggle to integrate technology effectively, there is strong support for further integration of technology. David Considine, Julie Horton, and Gary Moorman, the authors of Teaching and Reading the Millennial Generation Through Media Literacy, argue that the current level of media used in common high school curriculums is not enough, and that it is a mistake to disregard technology as a hindrance to education. Although this article is strong in its arguments, it fails to acknowledge the negative aspects of technology in the classroom. It emphasizes that it is an error on the part of the school system to overlook media as an asset and criticizes its small presence in the common curriculum. However, authors do not recognize, or at least do not present, how online media in the classroom in some cases can be a distraction or at the very least less effective than traditional methods of teaching. In order to support their claims that online media is necessary in the classroom, the article provides an example of a model that effectively integrates media into the common curriculum. They present the TAP, Text, Audience, and Production model, which offers a system through which educators can engage and instruct students through both traditional and contemporary methods of media. This model bridges the gap between the millennial way of thinking and the pre-information method of education. Further on in the article, the authors demonstrate how the TAP model works with an example, using the subject of the Titanic to show how multimedia resources are used in this model. They acknowledge that this method can be time-consuming, but argue that the learning process that the students experience is the actual lesson, and that in the meanwhile, they will have an organized source of information on the topic that they are researching. This model holds potential for the future in appropriating technology in the classroom because it recognizes that there are multiple forms of media that are effective, not all of which are technology-based. In a changing world, it is important to recognize when a new system can be more effective than an old one, but it is also crucial to recognize that old systems retain value and can evolve to fit in a new world of technology. Considine says, these technologies have created an increasingly complex environment that millennials must navigate. In addition, their extensive use of ICT, information communication and technology, often creates a false sense of competency, as well as the misperception among many adults that contemporary youth are media savvy. Hands-on is not the same as heads-on. Considine and his colleagues endorse fully exercising this new ability to integrate technology into the classroom. However, although they do not explicitly oppose the current problems with the level of technology in our public school system, they recognize that we must take caution when altering the education environment, especially with today's youth who grow up with technology. Despite this disregard for important factors of the negative nature of technology in the classroom, the TAP model is an applicable method for appropriately using technology in the classroom. The most important claim in this article is made in the concluding statements, where the authors call upon the reader to be accountable for creating change in our school system. As teachers, we must help all students to analyze and evaluate each media message for text, context, and impact to produce more knowledgeable, creative, and cooperative citizens for the global village." End quote. It is crucial that we come together as a global community and recognize that we live in a changing world and that we cannot disregard that, even if we don't necessarily agree with what is changing. In the current changing technology world, the top-down method is the most common, where state legislators and district superintendents mandate technological changes in online testing, and it has proven to be ineffective. Dominic Petco and his colleagues have tested 4 different methods of implementing changes in technology in classrooms and found that through a teacher questionnaire and other research methods that a top-down approach must be rejected as the most effective method for achieving the best results in their 7 categories, which are A, the school's ICT, again, information, communication, and technology resources; B, the frequency of teachers' participation in professional development activities related to ICT; C, teachers' own assessment of their ICT skill levels; D, teachers' positive beliefs about ICT with respect to pedagogical beliefs; E, frequency of ICT used by teachers and students; F, students' own assessment of their ICT skills; and G, their motivation to work with computers. However, Dominic Petco and his colleagues also reject schools with a participatory bottom-up and without a top-down strategy because there were not only no significant differences, but in fact there were negative effects. There was less technology overall in these classrooms, but overall teachers and students were not satisfied with the state of computer infrastructure. The most effective method was a combination of top-down and bottom-up integration, which was partially confirmed by the study. Teachers were overall more satisfied because they were able to control the types of interactions in the classroom. Petco's study shows that when technology is incorporated into the classroom with the help of the teacher, it is more effective than forcing an upper management update from departments such as the district office or state legislators, who aren't necessarily involved with the students' daily education, or at least not as intimately as their teachers are. It is crucial to listen to teachers as we move forward in the battle to integrate technology in the most efficient way possible, as they are the ones who see the results firsthand and must adjust their own tried-and-true curriculums. In addition to teachers' concerns about integrating technology into the classroom without significant disruption, there is the question of if this integration is effective at all. Matt Ritchell of the New York Times discusses the Kyrene School District of Arizona, who I mentioned in my introduction, in his article, "In Classroom of Future, Stagnant Scores." The article's headline is significant of his findings at Kyrene. A $33 million investment into developing the district's use of technology, while the district's scores in reading and math remain at a similar level to before these implementations. It is also important to mention that the rest of the state's public schools' reading and math test scores have risen. There is a significant interest in implementing technology in schools and investing tens of millions of dollars into these new methods, but there is little proof, or at least historical proof, that any of these approaches will improve our school systems and the knowledge of the public school system students. And from what we have seen through either actual implementation of technology in schools or small studies done by scholarly researchers, this method is either no more effective than traditional methods of teaching or, in fact, harmful to the developing education of students. The latest technological trend in public school system is increased online testing, which is an added burden for both teachers and students, as teachers must take the time to teach this new method and administer these tests, and students must make the effort to prepare for these exams. Jill Thackeray, a teacher at Skyline High School in Salt Lake City, is beginning her 24th year in the Utah public school system teaching English and language arts. Jill has been a vocal advocate for abolishing these mandated online tests and has even been able to fight the school district and get her advanced placement in international baccalaureate students exempt. As Jill has argued time after time, the information provided by these tests is not useful, yet our teachers are still mandated by their districts and state legislatures, who do not interact or have the personal relationship with the students that teachers do, to incorporate these tests into their already limited class time. She expresses that our educational system is so interesting. As we make these advances in technology that could really do good things, we just go backwards in time and continue to do things that don't work, like test, test, test. Technology in the classroom should be an asset to teachers as they prepare our students for their future endeavors. Instead, it has become a hindrance and is causing resentment from both students and teachers as they struggle to adapt a system that doesn't work. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of these tests is that the large textbook companies, such as McGraw-Hill and Pearson, are making money off of them. As Jill says, I don't believe that the public education system should be a place where money is made. To me, it goes against everything that public education is supposed to be. Can you imagine if teachers were doing things in their classrooms that they were profiting off of their students? Those teachers would be fired, end quote. Although I don't have time to further address this concern in this presentation, I will further explore this issue in my final paper, as it is a major factor in my concern for the future of technology in education. As teachers attempt to adapt these mandated changes, it becomes a large issue in the classroom, partly because there is a huge increase in teacher responsibility. Susan Meeben-Bartow surveyed teachers during her research for her article, Teaching with Social Media, Disrupting Present-Day Public Education, and found that technology is in fact a disruption to current high school classrooms. One of the interviewees, Ms. Patel, finds that her new role as an information updater has increased her responsibilities immensely, especially concerning social media. Other teachers found that their burden was increased for different reasons and with different effect, but an increased burden nonetheless. The purpose for developing these new methods is not to make a difficult job, teaching in the public education system, harder. It is to improve the learning methods of students in addition to making teachers' jobs easier. It is a two-part system, and one without the other cannot be considered a successful integration. Something else to consider when discussing developments in technology is which public schools will receive the new programs. Although many systems claim to distribute these programs across all socioeconomic systems, oftentimes it is only the wealthy groups that are given the opportunity to work with these new advances. Bartow describes that although formal education is but one factor impacting digital divides, whatever vibrancy is happening outside its boundaries will increasingly be available to those with access and transformative benefits, the purview of only the more able and affluent. As I stated before, in conjunction with Jill Thackeray's concerns, the public school system should not be a place where outside people come in and make money, and manipulating the school system to benefit their own financial assets is morally wrong. If only affluent students benefit, not much real progress is made because, in general, it is the impoverished students in our public education systems that need the most additional resources to improve their education experiences. Although there has been significant interest in increasing the level of technology in schools from both the public and scholarly world, there is little evidence that this works, and a large outcry from teachers and others in the public education system to stop throwing money into something that is not fully developed in an effective way. Our state legislators and district managers continue to try the same methods and expect different results while putting this increased burden on our teachers. As Jill Thackeray profoundly states, a teacher in front of the classroom engaged with students, feels teachers, and that's what creates a good environment, and that's where people learn. It's not always about the things on paper, or I guess it would be the computer now, or even the things that are tested. It's about being human and being compassionate, having understanding and learning to get along with people, and computers can't test that. Allowing textbook companies and other advocates of increasing technology to take over public classrooms for personal motives is unacceptable and should not be allowed as we integrate technology into our public classrooms. Though there has been a surge in social popularity of online media and technology, the public classroom is not a place where this new development can be used effectively, or at least not without further development and research. Teachers, students, and the global community will suffer if further action is not taken soon to minimize the ineffective, costly aspects of technology in the classroom that currently exist, and maximize the parts that make both teaching for teachers and learning for students easier. While there is no proof that our current method of technological integration into schools works, we should not continue to force this burden on our teachers and students. Thank you.